So when you were walking, were you doing it recreationally, or were you walking to like?
I tour from class.
Okay,
So
yeah,
yeah, so I teach on main campus, but it's a really nice walk from the music building. The music building is separate from main campus, but it's walkable, and it's actually a very convenient spot where I'm teaching this semester. Really nice room too. Actually, the previous rooms I taught in were like these old shitty rooms that look like they haven't been renovated since like the '60s. But the room I'm in this semester is really nice. But yeah, I think I was walking to or from class,
okay.
and I
So
yeah.
basically, recreational walking is still not part of your routine.
Only when only when we don't get in some actual exercise, we'll go for a walk. But actually, we've been really good about exercise. We go rollerblading really frequently. Did I talk about this on the pod?
You've told us. I don't remember if you've told
Okay,
other
Yeah.
people.
yeah, yeah.
The
So
mountain
we've
which I photoshopped you onto like Ken from the Barbie movie.
Oh, does he rollerblade in there?
Oh,
I
they
don't
do a
remember
lot of
that
them.
part.
Um,
Okay, yeah. Well, I don't know if Kyle remembers this, but there was a time. Maybe I did talk about this. There was a time in middle school where I rollerbladed all the time, and I was really good. And I used to play a ton of street hockey. And
Yeah,
but anyways, in the
all
last
the
year or
sport.
so, yeah, exactly. Yulia and I have both what is the word? Reinvigorated.
Do you have
Had a
like
renaissance.
a park nearby that you go to? Is it just
Yeah,
yeah?
there's a really nice park right across the street. Actually,
Nice.
that's one of the nice parts about our location. Really beautiful park, one of the newest parks in Fort Collins, and it's right by the hills. You kind of have there's these really nice paved trails all over the place. The foothills are right there. There's a really nice playground and a skate park and some tennis courts and pickleball courts. It's a great little park. So yeah, so we'll go there and I never even thought about it when I was a kid, right? When I was a kid, it's just like, ooh, rollerblading's fun. Let's go down the hill and let's play hockey. But it's actually like really good exercise. So,
Yeah. Well, and
um,
like I feel like at
yeah.
least in our neighborhood, like we had smooth enough pavement to do it. Like the
Mm-hmm.
pavement in our neighborhood here, like Toddy and I both have rollerblades, but
Oh,
it's
you do?
really difficult to rollerblade.
Yeah.
Like I mean, it's difficult because we have two kids now, but even if
Yeah.
we wanted to, like it's just it's not a comfortable ride or where like I'm thinking
Yeah.
of like going to Onondaga Lake Park, right, or something like
Mm-hmm.
that to
yeah.
just get that smooth. But like I don't remember that being a problem on our neighborhood streets growing up.
It's really interesting. Yulia and I have talked about that. I've tried to remember because I don't remember noticing that at all as a kid. I remember thinking everything was fine. And we used to rollerblade like in the neighborhood. Like we never went to the park that I remember. Like I can
No.
remember going with maybe like Ryan Judd and stuff, and maybe Sparky because I think uh, Sparky and I used to play hockey in those days. I think, but
Hmm.
like we would go. You remember that really big hill over off of like Deerfield or whatever? There was like I think it was off of Deerfield. Jeremy, I bet will remember, even though we moved when he was in middle school, he just remembers this shit. Um, over in that like fuck like no, not Cherry Tree, different neighborhood, doesn't matter. Anyways, all these neighborhood streets, and I don't remember ever being bothered by it, but it's the same deal here actually to what you're saying, Kyle, where we'll go in the neighborhood sometimes and the asphalt is like really rough and unpleasant to ride on. So we just we tolerate it and we get across the street to the park where it's really nice. So I don't know if it was just I was young and dumb and I had no idea.
Yeah.
Or because it seems unlikely that the streets of Liverpool in 2000 would be nicer, than the streets now, I feel like. But
Well,
I
and
don't
it
know.
could
They don't
be.
make them roads like they used to back in the day.
And I mean Matt would probably know more about this like specifically. I mean there could be different type of pavement going down that is better for cars and shit now, and maybe that's why it was quote unquote smoother back in 2000, like you said, when we were kids. But I don't know.
yeah. Yeah, that could be. Yeah.
I
So,
do I do think I took Onondaga Lake Park for granted, and I didn't
yeah.
do it a lot once I got into high school and then even into college. But occasionally I would just ride my bike to the park and then ride the length of the park, like all the way down past Long Branch to like the Good Dog Park, and then ride all the way back and then ride home, and that was fun.
Yeah.
Or if I just needed to kind of blow off some steam and get out there. And again, I didn't do it a whole lot, but
Dude, the amount of
um,
times I saw your dad biking, I never
yeah,
saw you biking, Matt, but I saw your dad. I was like, and he'd be like coming from work you know, or
Yeah.
something
Oh,
like
he'd bike to and from work because he could take the Parkway all the way around.
Yeah.
To, I mean, now that they've even extended the trail even further, but he could get all the way over to the pedestrian bridge over 690, and it was a couple hops over to the yeah. He'd do that all the time in the summer.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I don't think I ever saw you guys, but I mean, I still got a lot of mines. There was a lot of summers where if I wanted to see you guys, I'd hop on my bike and ride over to Bayberry.
Did you really? You biked to Bayberry some of those times?
What roads did you take?
I'd take Buckley.
Oh wow.
I mean, that's a long. I mean, we lived probably 10 to 15-minute drive from each other. I feel like, right?
A lot of lights.
In the summer, I'd get, when we were doing football weightlifting, I'd get dropped off at the high school with my bike, and I'd ride home.
Wow.
That I did not know.
Yeah.
Not
Jesus. Yeah.
Matt was number one for a reason, folks.
That's right. Exactly.
I mean, I didn't do it like a whole lot, but I did it a substantial amount of times. Like, I mean, I even still remember, like, or were you ever privy to the Dave Anthony Memorial Day pizza eating contest?
Yes.
Yeah, so I still remember, like, riding my bike to the pizza. This is 11th grade. The Pizza Hut on Old Liverpool Road, gorging on pizza, then riding to the high school to drop off a research paper for Mr. Henry, and then riding home. And I got as far as Whiffletree, just around the corner from the annex. It had just so much pizza in my system that I got off my bike going, just in the drainage ditch over there. I was like, I got to keep going. Like,
and the crazy thing is, Dave Anthony probably put down like 2 times more than that too.
No, I beat him that day.
What?
And I will stand by it to this point. But he claimed he would eat the tiny little meat, like the tiny little slices, and count it as a slice. He could eat. I'm not saying he couldn't eat.
No.
But I had a mission that day, and I won.
Yeah.
When Matt sets his mind, Yeah. Sorry, Kyle, what are you saying?
I was gonna say I've seen Dave eat. It's
he could eat. No, I'm not doubting that. I think he's an attorney now.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Holy shit. I knew him in like middle school. We were in band together.
Yeah.
And I remember liking him. I remember him being just like, pretty fun and goofy.
Yeah.
But
he had a good attorney's chin. He had a very powerful chin. Good attorney.
Yeah, he's a big sports guy though. He likes sports.
Oh yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah. Pretty sure his sister was dating Pascal.
Right, yeah.
Because I was like, oh, that's like my neighbor. Like, oh shit, this is crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah.
What are you guys drinking?
Let's talk about our drinks. Well, so mine I think is what I had last time we podded, which is the Bierstadt Lagerhaus Dunkel.
Ooh, okay. Yep.
However, I still had a couple cans left, so I'm working on finishing that. However, Matt is very attentive, so maybe noticed I'm drinking out of a different stein today, not my Dresden Files stein. And so this is from my favorite local brewery, Stodgy Brewing, which I think I texted you guys about. So a couple of weekends ago, they do this thing. They do a Starkbier Fest, which is like this old German tradition. And I don't know how long they've been doing it. I know they did it last year, but I couldn't go. But essentially, it's like at least a few hundred years old in Germany, and it's a spring tradition where you go and the weather is still chilly, but you get around a fire and you drink your beers outside, but you do what's called hot poking the beers. So you have like a metal rod, a steel rod, or whatever. There's differing tools depending on the place. But you heat it up in the fire, and then you dunk it right into your stein of beer, and you twist it around, you stir it around in the beer. The foam gets all warm and like overflows and stuff, and then you drink it. And the foam is like pretty hot, although the beer stays pretty cold. But it's a really fun little thing, and they have a local artist who designs these steins for this, and so of course I had to get one, and I've mentioned to you guys before, so it's like my favorite place in town, and someday when you come visit, Stodgy will be like our first destination. So I've got my new Stodgy Stein and a Bierstadt Dunkel, so it's a nice combo. Oh, and I had the So for just another point on this, it's really fun to do for those who ever like want to try it at home or whatever. And it is kind of fun to taste the hot foam. They recommend that you have, kind of rich flavored maltier beers. So they had brewed a Doppelbock for
Yep.
this event, which I did, and it was delicious. And then they also recommended their Scottish Ale, which is probably their most popular beer. It was a silver medal winner at the Great American Beer Festival this year. And so I did one of each, and those beers. So think of like how would you describe them, Matt? Like darker. What's how do we describe the color? Like brownish, but not a brown ale.
It's not a brown ale or a porter, but it is a. It is and I wish I had like there's actual metrics to describe color,
like copper caramel kind of color almost.
Yeah, deep copper.
Yeah, but like a nice malty kind of flavor, and it's really delicious, and it's kind of fun. It's fun to stand out there by the fire and drink your beer and stuff. It's a cool little experience.
Oh, awesome! That sounds like a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle, what do you got? You had a white can, but I couldn't tell what it was.
I got another repeat beer. I've already had this on the pod.
All right.
I had this. This is Blackbird Brewery. It's right in Wake Forest, where my parents live, right outside of Raleigh. I don't know. I got a whole bunch of beer when I was there for my birthday, and there's a couple IPAs that are getting to that shelf life. So I'm like, all right, I gotta get
them out. Yeah,
get them while they're
good. That's good. I was lucky enough that the week before I moved, my dad went to the new Treehouse location in Saratoga.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And so, I mean, I've already drank everything, but I saved one. I've got one more in the fridge downstairs. I've got like a peanut butter coconut coffee stout, but I saved King Julius, so I've got a King Julius right now.
Oh, man, I'm jealous.
It's phenomenal. He got me two. Like, thank you, Dad.
Yeah. I remember we split a few years ago, Matt, a couple of really nice stouts from Treehouse that were really excellent. And man, I love that place. And I don't know if you guys remember this. Matt maybe does because of that fucking steel trap. But Saratoga is a really special place to me. For 2 summers in high school, I did an orchestra camp there.
Your festival camp thing, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a month long, and I did it after sophomore year and after junior year. And loved it. It's an amazing experience. Loved the town of Saratoga. I mean, there's certain things about Saratoga that are a little bit weird, and I'm sure it's changed over the years. It has been. I did it in 2005 and 2006, which is insane to think about. It's been almost 20 years since the first one, 19 since the second one. But in any case, point being, Saratoga, very special and nostalgic place to me. And now there's a treehouse there. Like, I got to make a fucking pilgrimage there. Treehouse in Saratoga. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah, my mom and dad took a trip out. And they got pizza. They're only serving slices right now as they're kind of figuring out their pizza system. But they said it was a really cool place, nice and big. They'll probably have future plans for events there and that kind of thing. Kind of like they're like Trampled freaking playing in in Charlton, and the stage they have in Deerfield. Had I been more clear on my work situation this summer, I would have bought tickets. They're sold out now. But
yeah,
that just sounds like heaven.
Oh, amazing! Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. But anyway, so you got some King Julius,
and then I got a human robot as in reserve just in case.
Nice.
Since I'm almost through my King Julius, this is all I got left. So
yeah.
Are you seeing Trampled at all this year? Either one of you?
Nah, nothing yet. I hope to do a Philly swing.
So it's crazy. They're not doing Red Rocks this year for the first time, and I don't know how long. They're going to be in Denver at this thing called Outside Festival, and that's on June 1st. And yeah, and so like I might go because I want to see them, but also I don't know. They're just like co-headlining this festival, and the rest of the acts are somewhat interesting, but not that interesting. And to be honest with you, it's not my ideal version of seeing them. I don't particularly, I don't know, I'm not super excited about it. So I'll keep an eye out. I'm sure they'll be doing other shows in Colorado. They always do, several at least, but I'm really surprised. They've been selling out Red Rocks for years. So I don't know what happened this year for them not to be playing there. But yeah, I mean they tour a bunch in the summer and fall and into the winter, so I'm sure we'll be able to find a time. But yeah, I'm undecided. So
I mean, I wonder. Do you think it was as simple as just a scheduling thing? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe. I feel like they love playing there, and they for the last several years they play on like the second or third Thursday at Red Rocks. It's been
yeah,
consistently like that since before COVID. And I can't imagine they would have scheduled things in a way that it would have been a problem for them to do Red Rocks. I would imagine that maybe Red Rocks decided to book other acts for some reason, but I mean, Trampled sells out. Like I don't know why Red Rocks would think they need to do something else, but I can't imagine Trampled would want to make that decision not to play there. But maybe, you never know.
I got to see them
So
again. Unfortunately, the last time I've seen them was 2 days, 3 days before my accident. So
it's been that long already.
yeah.
Wow.
So I just realized I didn't have that on my set list. Um,
Yeah, Setlist FM.
yeah. So I've seen them.
Yeah.
I've seen them 10 times.
You're up to 10. Okay. All right. I got to stay ahead of you.
Um,
Can't let
but
you
yeah,
catch up. Yeah.
I was leading for a while. I was leading the
Yeah,
good fight.
you were. I finally overtook you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Um,
met 13, I think.
but yeah,
But
and it was funny because they played this little venue in Wilmington called the Queen, and I think they were on tour with that big country guy they were opening up for.
Zach Bryan, probably.
Yeah, and they had a night in between, and they were like, "Fuck it, we're gonna book a show." So they only had, I think they announced it like only with like a month to spare, but it was great. I got a front row balcony seat.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I was just flying solo at night, so I went to a right across from the venue was a burger and bourbon bar called the Farmer and the Cow. So I got some.
Oh,
I got a vintage Founders CBS Nitro on tap and a giant delicious burger, and
that's like a perfect night right there.
yeah.
That's like if the world was going to end, that's what I would want my last night to be, is something like that.
I mean, darkly poetic there. It was, it was close to my world ending, and it was a good night. So.
Right.
But
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
it was a lot of fun. I wish they'd come back and play there again. It was really fun to see them there.
Yeah.
So.
Really quickly, this isn't exactly about music, but it reminded me of something I wanted to mention. So, Matt, your favorite stand-up is still Kyle Kinane, right?
Yes.
Okay. There's this amazing bit, and I don't think I texted you guys about it, but it showed up on like my Instagram or something a little while back, and I meant to tell you guys about it. It's really, really funny, and I'm gonna butcher it, but I bet Matt will know it. Where he's talking about how it's like it's dangerous to get political, and it's dangerous to like say anything bad about the troops, but how he has this thing where he doesn't think you should be allowed to be a Navy SEAL if you're ticklish.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so good, and everybody should look it up. I don't know. I guess if you probably just look up like Kyle Kinane Navy SEALs, you'll probably find it. But he has this whole bit, and the way he says it, he sounds like so serious and like intense about it, and the delivery is just fucking perfect because you don't think he's gonna go there, and he says ticklish. And then he, I won't even try to do it, but he keeps going, and then he talks about like he uses another group and talks about another thing that he thinks should be disqualifying for this other group in the military, and it's like super super funny, and I'm just like, that's the kind of comedy I love because that is like so brilliant and original and just like really creative to just come up with that, and so I highly recommend people go and find that. It popped up again recently, and I watched it again, and I was just cracking up, and I was like, this is just a fucking genius little bit right here. It's just so good.
I like that he's been described as a comedian's comedian.
Yeah.
I wish he was more popular, but I like that he isn't as well.
Right.
But I also, the last 2 years he's been in Philly, I've missed him for one reason or another.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always either out of town someplace, but he is He's playing a single show in Denver in September, Ethan.
Is
so.
he? I was going to say, I'd love to see him out here. We actually have a really good comedy club in Fort Collins, but maybe he's a little bit too big for that.
Yeah.
I know he's not as big as like Nikki Glazer is now, for instance.
No,
but
no, he's not doing stadiums, but he's doing big theaters.
yeah,
So
yeah, that is cool. I think it would be worth it to go into Denver to see him. That would be pretty fun. He's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really enjoy it. And it's funny how that happens. Kind of like a lot of bands I've come to like. He was opening for Patton Oswalt. And I was like, holy shit, this guy's amazing. Like,
yeah, that's an
he
amazing
had a whole
show.
bit
Wow,
about
him and Patton.
like, yeah, oh, that was a really good show. And, he had a whole bit about like, realizing his own mortality as he like comes to on the toilet after eating too many Del Tacos and like, or like, setting his alarm clock a couple minutes early to try and fool himself, but really 8:00 on a Sanyo alarm clock just looks like the word boo. And he's like, I don't know, maybe it's boo 30 right now. Maybe I'm just gonna go back to bed and pretend I didn't wake up today. And like, I don't know, just a lot of good. I highly recommend any listener out there check out Cockney.
Yeah, absolutely. Kyle, did you have anything specific on the docket for today?
I do not, although I do want to say two things very quickly. First, I believe this is the first podcast in Matt's new home, so congrats again.
Oh, yeah, Mazel Tov.
Welcome,
Yeah, officially on the pod.
Welcome from the third floor hideaway.
Very nice.
So good, so good. And
there's lots of boxes and stuff I still need to get through. But
it took us like half a year to get through our boxes, so.
Well, Sam won't let me last that long. She's moving along, which is very good. Like,
yeah,
she's kicking ass. So
nice.
it's like you need that drive, especially with some of the shit we found in this place. So, like, the garage is almost there. Like, the rooms are mostly there. The back room is still kind of a mystery right now, but you got kind of stuff. I've been rephrased. I've got a lot of stuff all over the place. But we're making it work. So
nice.
My goal is by the weekend to be able to have her park her car in the garage.
Yeah.
Good goal to have.
Okay. Quick interlude. We've got they're okay. They're nice kids. We got these three little shits next door. They're nice kids. They're very nice kids. And I'm going to describe. And I'm sorry if they ever listen to this podcast. I hope they don't. But if they do, Lauren and Owen, if you listen to this podcast,
that is our demographic.
Like free range parenting. The kids just run. Like, our yard is their yard, which I don't like. Whatever.
Ugh.
We've got a basketball hoop. If they want to use a basketball hoop, fine. But not when Sam's car is parked underneath it, right? Like, don't do that. Don't shoot hoops when her new car is underneath the basketball hoop. Like, when her car's in the garage, shoot hoops. Great. Like, I'm not going to shoot hoops. You shoot hoops. Little Owen, he's got a good handle. He's got a good jump shot. Like, practice. Keep practicing. Also, like, he plays baseball. He's got a pitcher's mound set up in the backyard. There's just debris and toys and little scooters and sports equipment just strewn about. But yeah, they're just all over the place. Like,
yeah, no, that's not okay.
Like, take out the trash day and I see like the scooter just in my yard and it's like, fine. But like, also, until last weekend, I had like scrap metal sitting in my driveway. Please don't like run through my driveway and fall on the scrap metal that my previous lovely homeowners left here. Like, don't do that. Or like just wait. We will park the car in the garage. I do not want you to not use this hoop, but just yes.
They're gonna be the next,
and then like
they're
our
gonna be the
neighbors
next
on the
Michael
other
Jordan.
side.
They got a hoop, Matt. You got to let him hoop.
I mean, I hope he keeps working on that J. Because again, he's got a good handle, but he needs to work on that J. But like our neighbors next door just put up a fence, so like now our yard looks even narrower. And I don't know if it was because like Owen would like hit the baseball over our yard into their yard and like run all the way over and then hit the baseball back and then run all the way back and it's like sooner or later like someone's gonna lose a window, or like please don't hit my garage with a baseball. Not because I care about the garage, but because it's got asbestos siding, and like don't disturb the asbestos siding. Like just please, mesothelioma. There's enough commercials for that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't do that, please. Like,
okay, I have two things to say about this. Number one is you mentioned free range parenting. The only time that the term free range should be used and appreciated is when we are talking about the health of the animals that we eat. Okay, free range chickens and whoever else. Okay, free range parenting. Fuck that noise. And then number two, I think it's time for you to go Ron Swanson style and put some fucking landmines in your yard. That's what I'm saying.
I mean, that would teach it very quickly.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I mean, but like eventually I do want to have like a fire pit back there that's nicer than the one that my previous homeowner cobbled together when he was high one afternoon. Because it just looks like a joke. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like, it just looks terrible. Like, he just bought a bunch of excess pavers at the store and piled them up in a circle. Like, no. That's not what a fire pit is. But anyway.
It's just unfathomable. It's unfathomable to me. You guys know my parents. The idea that Jeremy and I would or could just run into some neighbors' yards and just play there willy-nilly. I mean, it's unimaginable. Like,
I mean, we did break one of your neighbor's windows. So
we did, but we
Ryan Judd.
Ryan Judd, thank you very much, Ryan Judd. But we didn't, and we knew those neighbors really, really well, the next door neighbors. And so, like, if I had or we had played in their yards or like dipped into their yards, it wouldn't have been a big deal because we knew them really well and had been there for years. But just on principle, like as a principle, this is insane, and just I don't understand it. Yeah.
That day I pulled a number of foul balls off the side of your house. I was feet away from breaking some of your windows too.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Honestly, we should not have used. So at that point, when we broke the neighbor's window, we had our wiffle ball, but we wrapped it in duct tape and it got really heavy. And we were using not the standard thin yellow wiffle bat. We were using this thicker black yellow wiffle bat. And we were older at this point. I mean, we were like 12 or 13 or some shit. And like, we could hit the ball pretty hard at that point. And the again, with the duct tape, the ball had some heft. We should not have been playing in the backyard at that point with those tools. We should have gone to the green area for that. But that was silly in retrospect. Yeah. So
those are days we'd go over and we'd get pizza at Liverpool Pizzeria and we'd get some ice cream at Burn Dairy and we'd just hang out. And then like I remember we'd like walk through your basement to get like snacks, and Jeremy would be sitting there at the computer listening to Metallica. Remember that?
I miss those days.
Little did I know, those I just remember Jeremy at the computer listening to like metal and like oh cool, and then like oh shit, like wow that's awesome. Like,
yeah,
we played GameCube.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, Paul, did you have a second thing too? Did you other than Matt's house?
Yeah, sorry, I went off on a tangent about.
No, that was good. That was good.
Yeah.
I got a quick quiz. Who is the number 2 in terms of OPS plus on the Yankees right now?
Right now?
Ben Rice.
Yeah. Nope.
Not Ben Rice? That's a good guess.
Ben Rice is number 3. Nope.
Jazz Chisholm.
No.
Nope.
Jazz is not hitting well.
He's hit some homers.
Grisham.
Okay.
Number 3.
That's a good quiz.
You know who's a second? I think he's second lowest in the 50s. Who's second lowest in the 50s?
With OPS
lowest
plus?
Is -50, which is like Pablo. Pablo, infielder, utility guy. But second lowest.
On the Yankees?
Mm-hmm.
Who, Oswald Peraza?
Belly.
Oh, is he really?
Second lowest. He's in the 50s right now.
Oh, wow. So he hasn't done... He did have an RBI double today, but other than that, he hasn't been doing shit, huh? I thought he...
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was going that bad so
no,
far.
he wasn't hurt. He had the... Well, yeah, no.
Chicken
he had
wings.
some back thing the other day. Then he had the chicken wings before that. You know, whatever. Like, he's missed some time.
He shouldn't be eating chicken wings. He should be eating Anthony Volpe's mom's chicken parm.
There you go.
Don't give me this chicken wing bullshit.
He swore it off for 5 years. He's done.
Yeah. No man can resist chicken wings that long. I just had chicken wings last week and I'm on a diet.
Oh man, now I really want wings. I haven't had wings in a while.
Same.
Oh, come up and visit. There's this place down the street called Union Jack's Pub.
Uh-huh.
That, like, is known for their wings and their beer selection. So I had
Nice.
A Lawson Sip of Sunshine and then a Russian River Pale Ale, which I've never seen on draft, which was kind of great.
Oh, nice.
So Russian River, right? Only available in California, Colorado, and Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've had some Russian River before. I see them here occasionally. I didn't realize that the availability was that limited, though.
Yeah, and I think they're only in Philly because of, like, a friend of the brewery owners or something like that. So that's why, like, Monk's Cafe in Philly gets, like, 15 kegs of Pliny the Younger every year because, like, of just this friendship they have.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had a couple of their wild ales at one of our cool bars in town. Matt, it's a similar place to what you're describing. Another place I'll take you guys when you visit someday. It's called the Mayor of Old Town. Amazing beer selection, 100 beers on tap, and really good wings. And I had a couple of their wild ales, Beatification and Consecration, that were both really good. In addition to Pliny the Elder, but yeah, nice.
Yeah. I think Russian River brews a special anniversary beer for monks. So, like, that's cool. Yeah. Well, when you come out here, we'll go to Monks and we'll get wings. They're
I really want to go to Monks. Yeah, because what did we do in Philly? Did we go to the Tool concert in Philly? But it was just a quick night. Yeah. I think that was it, right? We didn't do I didn't stay longer. So. Yeah.
You got to meet my friend Nick.
Oh yeah.
My brother and Umbrella were there.
That's right. Yeah, that was fun. Sweet. What else, Kyle? What was the second thing? Do you remember?
I was just gonna say fucking baseball's back. So
yes,
let's turn it up. We got a lot to talk about.
18th game of the season.
Is now Jason happening. In the lineup tonight?
He is in the lineup tonight.
Okay.
He struck out with his helmet falling off. I saw that really quickly right as I was logging on.
Well, he smacked himself in the head last night.
Oh, did he?
But he got a three-run double out of it.
Three-run double, and his follow-through smacked himself in the head. And then everyone thought that he was hurt, and that's why they took him out of the game. No, they put Gershwin for a defensive replacement. But
yeah.
Amazing.
Everyone was worried that he got hit, but I mean, he was 3 for 3 last night with 3 RBIs. So.
Yeah. They call him the Martian, right? They've been calling him the Martian since we signed him when he was like 16 years old, and they claimed they were calling him the Martian because he's just so amazing with his skill set. 5 tools. He's so talented. Blah 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 blah. Now I'm wondering if we were fed a whole big steaming bowl of lies, and that he's really a Martian because he's just a fucking weirdo spaz who smacks himself in the face on his follow through.
I mean, that could be it too.
Yeah. But it's 3-3 now. Clark Schmidt is making his first start of the year right now. But it's
how's that knuckle curve look?
I haven't actually had any up because my internet is too weird, so I'm not streaming it right now. Kyle, do you have it on?
Yeah, his knuckle curves looked good. He's looked good overall. Last inning was his roughest inning. He gave up the 2 runs to tie the game.
What inning was that?
5th. So he's pitching in the 6th.
Wasn't that his thing last year? Like the first 5, rock solid, 6th inning,
and then gets destroyed, right?
Yeah, and I heard Kay earlier before we hopped on talk. I think his pitch count is like 70 or so. He's only at 55.
Oh, that's great.
So yeah, he's been pitching efficiently. He just left some pitches over the plate. He was a little rough in the first inning when he gave up the other run. Probably just adrenaline and everything. But yeah, I mean, this has been I don't know. I feel like it's been an exciting start to the season just overall for baseball. Like, I mean, the Yankees, as they normally do, and this is like an area where Cashman never gets enough credit, they find ways to win even when fucking Carlos Rodon is probably your best starter, and who knows what he's going to do.
No, Max Fried.
Yeah,
Fried so far. Hopefully that continues. Yeah. Fried has the contract for it. He better be our fucking ace.
Well, I mean, Rodon has a nice little contract too.
He does, but
Yeah.
Not like Fried's.
But point is, like, their starting pitching is in shambles. I think they're 29th in the league, in team ERA and everything, and yet they're 10-7. With a chance to sweep the Royals tonight, and the Dodgers got off to that crazy start. The whole NL West, is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, even the Diamondbacks, I think, are up to 10-7 now as well. If the Rockies didn't exist, it would be the most incredible division of all time. But
yeah, they're 3-14 so far.
Having
Worst in
pitched
the bigs.
only 9 innings, Luke Weaver has 2.5 times as many WAR as the entire starting staff combined.
No way! Seriously?
The entire starting staff is like negative 0.5 WAR.
Oh my
and
God.
Luke Weaver is 0.7.
Oh my
and Luke
God!
Weaver's pitched 9 innings.
That's fucking bonkers. Jesus Christ!
So you've got Fried, who's like 0.5.
He's been great so far.
I want to say Carrasco is maybe 0.1 or 2. Cookie is at least turning in some good performances, and Rodon, Warren, and Stroman are just garbage.
Man,
I hope if Stroman makes it through the season, I hope we cut him at 139 2/3 innings, because screw him. I'm just angry now. I'm an angry Yankees fan.
The thing is like, I really want Stroman to do well. I like him. Like, I like his spirit. I like his attitude. I like his swagger. There was this really cool moment last year, I remember, where he was pitching or something, and he like really was cheering on the teammates in like a really big way. Somebody made some good play, or maybe he wasn't pitching and he was cheering on somebody else. Like, maybe Kyle remembers. But he like tweeted about how like there's nothing better than seeing my brothers do great or something. And like, I love his vibe. I love his style. Like, I want nothing more than for him to just be a solid, like, even just a 2 to 3 win pitcher via Baseball Reference WAR. I mean, I prefer Fangraphs WAR when we're talking about pitcher evaluation, right? But in a shorthand, using Baseball Reference, 2 to 3 WAR is like very solid. And like, if Stroman was in that range, I'd be thrilled. I love the guy. I think I love that attitude. Same with Jazz. Like, they give this team this like personality that we are so often lacking, and that is like a huge bummer. And so, man, I'm really rooting for him. But fuck, it's been rough so far.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want to spend all our time talking about the Yankees and their starting pitching woes.
We shouldn't. That'd be too depressing.
It's I do love Stroman too. For the vibe thing. It was tough. I was texting you guys, and
the weather was horrible, though.
Of course,
in his defense,
the weather was horrible. Apparently, he had a bum knee, and he went out there anyway. Yada yada. But oh my God, watching him struggle through that was one of the worst pitching experiences I can remember in a long time. So
yeah.
I don't know. I hope he's got something left in the tank, but
he's only 34. He's younger than us.
Yeah, but he's had some major surgeries in the past and things like that. I don't know if it was Tommy John, but he definitely missed like a full season or something with the Blue Jays early on in his career. I remember, but yeah, I mean, and there's I think like across the league, the Angels are a good story right now, but they've been a good story in April before. Like, come talk.
That ain't gonna last. You kidding me?
Yeah. Come talk to us in June. Trout's
what's his name? Kyron Davis or whatever. Like, that's a fucking fluke. There's no chance that lasts.
He's got Judge's hitting coach.
That's true. Kyron Paris, or Kyron. Have you guys heard his name out loud?
Kyron, I believe is.
Kyron. He does have Judge's hitting coach. That's a good point. You know what? Maybe he will have a good year. I can't imagine it's going to stay like at the level it's at, but maybe he is the real deal to some degree. That's a good point.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things I would like to talk about is because I talked about this 2-3 years. How long have we been podcasting already? It's crazy to think about.
Since 2021, isn't it?
Yeah.
5
I think
years?
Since summer of 21, so like almost 4 years.
Yeah.
I think.
And maybe it was then, maybe it was the year after. I don't know. But at some point, I told you guys that everyone who was sucking the dick of the Atlanta Braves and what they were doing with all these young guys and their contracts and yada yada and everything, and I was like, it is just as risky to lock up young players as it is to lock up players on the other side of their prime. Like long-term deals in general are risky and come with a lot of ups and downs. And right now we are seeing, I just looked, the Braves lost again today to Toronto 3-1. They are 5-13. And that division is, pretty tough. You got the Mets, you got the Phillies.
Nats have some talented young people. They're only 7-10 right now, but they got some talent.
Yeah, and you would have to think because the NL West, like I said, is the best division in baseball, probably. That the wild cards are coming from there. So for the Braves to get back into this, I mean, Strider came back today through 5 innings. So that's he's looked great in all his rehab starts. But the people, the same people that were getting the praise from the national media, from the whoever it is, the Braves beat writers, and things like that about this is a great deal, this is awesome. I wrote about it for Yardbarker about 3 weeks ago. These guys are not producing, and it has now been over a season. Like we're not just talking about like a small sample size here in April 2025. We're talking about a full season plus April 2025, and that's got to be concerning. Some of these deals.
If you're Alex Anthopoulos,
some of these deals expire like 2 or 3 years from now. Like we're still talking about like these,
and that's the earlier deals,
guys. Right. These quote
a lot of them go until
guys.
the 2030s.
Yeah. Like what do you do? At that point.
I mean, at that point, you pull a Theo Epstein and you trade Nomar, or you do the dump, right? You give Mookie away with Price and Crawford, and right, that was that deal.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So yeah, but see, I think you might be onto something. I think it would be more like the Crawford. Who was it? Crawford, Adrian Gonzalez, when they dumped all those guys, the Red Sox, because they were just god awful in Boston for whatever reason. They dumped them to San Diego. I want to say
no, LA,
right? Yes, yeah, right. I was thinking Gonzalez came from San Diego, so. Yeah, I think it's more along the lines of that, where it's like you got to move like multiple pieces. You're not talking like one piece, like a Nomar, type thing, or even a Mookie to, get rid of salary. Because I mean, who are you going to move? Like Acuna, hasn't played in how long now?
Was Beckett as part of that deal too? I got to remember this now. Like,
yeah, I think he was. Yeah, I think he was.
I'm gonna look it up. I gotta look it up.
Yeah, while you're looking that up, I heard on Baseball Barbacast, our Jewish friends over at Yahoo Sports, Jordan Schusterman and Jake Mintz, there is advanced analytics on Chris Sale showing some of the drop-offs that he's had, and they are really concerning.
I mean, that's no surprise. He's like 36. Yeah, last year was kind of wild.
Well, yeah, I mean, he won the Cy Young Award.
I wouldn't have expected that to continue. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how many expected that to continue. I certainly would not have.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the craziest thing, though, right? Is you take away Chris Sale, and we're talking about a team that didn't even make the playoffs last season. And does that give me more credit for my argument to say, like, why aren't we crushing the Braves in the way that they constructed their roster? Like, is it because they're just the Atlanta Braves and they don't get as much national attention as the Dodgers or the Yankees do? But like, I just don't understand it.
So this is really fascinating, and I think this is going to be really fun to follow throughout the season because. So I think, Kyle, I remember you talking about that, and and I probably said something at the time, like, and it has remained true. Like I've been a believer. Like my whole thought the last few years is that Alex Anthopoulos is the GM of the Braves, is a fucking genius, and my whole thing has been like, I think he's been playing chess, and every other GM has like been playing checkers, but. Last year plus the beginning of this year certainly does not look good, to your point, Kyle. And being 5-13 right now is really rough. However, I gotta say, like looking at their roster, and Strider just came back. Like, I'm still a believer. I think that, you know, they had this really rough start, and then Profar got suspended for 80 games for PEDs, and that probably, you know, took whatever wind they had and took it out of their sails, any wind that they had after the bad start. So I think it's been a
Because what did they
confluence.
start? 0-8?
0-7. I know at
7,
least 0-7,
0-8.
maybe 0-8.
Yeah.
And so, you know, but still, what we have to remember, we talk about this every year, it's only April 16th. And one of the things with baseball, we all get so excited, and it's great, right? We love it. We get excited. This game is a marathon. It is literally double the length of any other major sport in terms of the amount of games. And so there is still so much baseball to be played. It's possible that the Braves are legitimately bad, and that these guys, like Kyle, what you're talking about, you know, what I was thinking about while you're talking about this, about the contracts and locking everybody up early is, you know, I wonder if they just lost their motivation. If it's like, you know what, I'm not going to be a free agent. I don't have a big contract to play for. I'm just going to fucking phone it in and be complacent. Is that actually happening?
Yeah.
You know, like maybe, but it's still April 16th. And yeah, they started 5-13, but like, they have enough talent. They could still win 95 games. Like, it's possible. And isn't it, you guys would remember better than me, that A's team that famously won 20 games in a row when we were kids in like 2002 or whatever, didn't they have a really bad start? Weren't they like, didn't they have a losing, or one of those teams, maybe, I don't know if it was that particular A's team that had the 20 game win streak, but I think it was the A's. One of those years when they were good, when we were young, they were really bad, but then got hot for the rest of the year and ended up being really good. I think I might be misremembering, but point is, I think it's a fascinating. Yeah, what'd you find? Anything?
They did have a really bad. They started 15-11 in April, but then they went 10-17,
Yes.
370 win percentage in May.
Okay.
Followed by their
So they were.
historic.
So they did have a losing record at the end of May, right? You said 15-11 and then 10-17, so they were like 25-28 coming out of May.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is the 0-2 Athletics, who did have that 20 game win streak, and they won like 102 games or 101 games.
Yeah, the winning streak was actually not until August.
I remember it
when
being late,
it started.
or later.
So they, so I mean, they had that the early 2000 A's teams, like, man, that they didn't win, especially with that pitching, like, that's got to be that's got to be one of the flukiest flukes of all the playoffs. You know, when you really think about it.
Seriously, they were fucking stacked.
Yeah, so they play 577 ball, then they have the 370 month after that. 750 baseball in June, 556 in July, 857 in August with the big winning streak that starts then, and top it off with the 692 in September. They won 103 games that year in the regular season, and they lost the division series to the Twins. Like,
so wild, God.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was and then the year before was the year that the Mariners won 116, and didn't they get bounced in the division series?
They had the Yankees on the rope. The Yankees became the first team to lose the first 2 games at home in the division series, and then come back to win the series.
Yeah, man,
and that was after they pushed the Yankees to 5 games the year before in 2002.
Yeah,
so, I mean, all 3 of those years, like. Ugh.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy to think about, because we've talked about this a lot on the pod, and of course this is a common theme in just in baseball circles nowadays. The playoffs in baseball now are so crazy because we have all these extra teams and these wild cards and blah blah blah, and it's just like, the Rangers Diamondbacks of 23. I mean, it's just totally kind of random and weird and whatever. But it's interesting to look back at those years, because even then it was already pretty crazy. I mean, it's wild to imagine the 116 win Mariners, getting bounced. And then, you think about like the 1990s Atlanta Braves only winning 1 title with their fucking roster that they had, like the baseball playoffs have been crazy and unpredictable even before, even before we had the current system.
I mean, that's what's great about the playoffs, right? Like, my analogy for like hockey is that, you get a hot goalie, right? Remember the 8 seed LA Kings winning years ago, right? Like, crazy shit happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then you have like the juggernaut Dodgers who just crush everyone.
Right. But yeah, Kyle, I think you're right. I think the Braves are a fascinating story. It's going to be really cool to see throughout the year. And then also on that note, I was checking the standings just now. The Orioles are only 6-10 right now, and
Yeah, this
frankly, it fucking serves them right for not trying to build a pitching staff. They have so much goddamn talent. There is no reason for them not to have like two amazing pitchers at the
You
front of the
mean
rotation.
signing 3 pitchers older than us isn't a good strategy?
I mean, I just
Including
don't know
one
what
who's
they're
never pitched
thinking.
in the majors before?
They have like the new ownership now who like, they claimed they were going to spend money, and like the guy is this billionaire from Baltimore who apparently is like a big Orioles fan. Like what the fuck are they doing? It's just so dumb. I mean, who knows? They have enough talent. Like even with that pitching staff that's not good, they have enough offensive talent that I still believe they could still be really good and make the playoffs. And then who knows? But man, it's like disappointing. But
see,
we got to, yeah. Again, it's still April 16th.
And Baltimore is actually, that's a really interesting thing to bring up at this point in the conversation too, is because like Baltimore could have taken the same approach as the Braves, and you'd be like, well, they're
Yeah.
still kind of fucked right now. Whereas like, it's very likely that they wasted, maybe some of the best years of some of those core players, but at least
Yeah.
you can see a window of moving on to whatever that next phase is. They're not going to go full rebuild probably like they were in 2018, 2019, type thing, but at least you can see them moving forward, just not on. It's more of like a financial flexibility and like an economics thing. Like it still doesn't make it better, right? Like it's still disgusting that they haven't been able to dish out the money for a pitching staff to support some of these young positional players that they have. But
Yeah.
it is interesting to see how Baltimore has approached their young studs versus how Atlanta did theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I put me in the shoes of a GM. I'm going to tend to go with I don't want risk over the long term. So whether that's front loaded or back loaded, like give me flexibility to work with the randomness. It doesn't just happen in the playoffs; it happens in the regular season too. Like I was just looking at this because talking about the A's thing. So they won 91 games in 2000. They won 102 in 2001, 103 in 2002, and then they canned Art Howe after that. But in 2000, they were 21-7, and then 1-0 in October, heading into the playoffs versus the Yankees. Like that team, oh my god! And that team had 2000 and 2001 had Giambi, Tejada, like
Mm-hmm.
oh man, and then the
Yep.
big three
Mulder,
with
Hudson,
pitching.
Zito. Yeah.
Like
Ton of talent. Mm-hmm.
holy shit, how did they
Yep.
not? And then I even 2003 they lost the division series to Boston, so they never made it. They never made it to the championship series in any of those seasons.
Which is so crazy.
Like
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah, totally crazy. Poor Billy Bean. I do feel bad for him. Oh yeah, Eric Chavez. He was really good those years too.
Oh yeah, I loved
I was just
Chavez.
looking up the roster. Yeah, Chavez was a really good player.
Chavez, Tejada.
Johnny Damon and Jermaine Dye, they weren't that good in 2001, but they were good players overall. Yeah, I mean that's
Well,
a really
Dye was
talented
good when
roster.
he Dye was good when he got traded over. He had a really good second half, and then I remember he like fouled the ball off his knee or something against the Yankees in the postseason. That was like a turning point, kind of like what happened when Olerud got hurt in 2004 for the Yankees, and that kind of turned. A lot of things turned that around, but that would like one injury, like Olerud was having a really great series if I remember correctly for the Yankees, and then I forget how he got hurt, but I remember Jermaine Dye like fouled a ball off his knee, and that was like That and the flip were the turning points, of that
Oh, the
series.
flip. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
To this day, I still can't hear Johnny Damon's voice name without thinking of the Matt Damon voice.
Oh.
Johnny Damon.
And you know what? Knowing what we now know about Johnny Damon as a person, I think that makes sense. Yeah.
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 Wait, what? Damon was on one of those A's teams before he went to Boston?
2001. I was just looking at the roster. He was on that team.
So he got traded from Kansas City to Oakland?
Is that right? Let me see.
It's just wild to think like that would ever happen back then.
Kansas City to Oakland just for that 1 year, 2001. He was on Oakland and then Boston, just 1 year. Yeah, say what you will about him overall, but he actually had a really nice career, 56.3 career WAR via Baseball Reference. I mean, that's borderline Hall of Fame. That's actually really outstanding. That's a nice little career right there.
Well, he was part of a 3-team trade. Kansas City sent him and Mark Ellis to Oakland. Oakland got Angel Baroja.
I remember, bro.
AJ Hinch.
Rookie of the year.
The Athletics sent Ben Grieve. Wow, that's a throwback.
I remember Ben Grieve.
Yeah. And then the other team was Tampa Bay. Tampa sent Corey Lytle, future Yankee and future plane flyer, to the Athletics.
Too soon.
Roberto
Too
Hernandez.
Soon. Yeah.
Roberto Hernandez was the other person. That was a big trade for.
Wow, big trade.
Yeah, I mean Damon finished 19th in the MVP voting the year before, but I mean, come on, he was with the Royals were so bad then. I mean, he had 46 stolen bases and he scored 136 runs. Both of those led the league, but I mean his OPS was 877. I don't know. I guess he had a 6.2 WAR baseball.
But but only a 118 OPS plus that year, that reminds you of the era, because an 877 OPS, in a vacuum, that's an outstanding OPS. But
I wonder
118
what
OPS
was
plus
that year. Yeah,
exactly.
Average OPS was.
So kind of interesting.
Last year it was 711, I want to say, or 713, somewhere around
there.
there.
Yeah, gosh, it's a different era.
Yeah, but that was obviously the steroid era.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right smack there.
He had a lot of the good numbers, right? He had a high average, 327, a lot of stolen bases.
Yeah, 42 doubles, 214 hits. Yeah, I mean, he drew some walks. I mean, he was a really good player.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. Wow. What else? Do we want to hit? I'll talk really quickly. So, I texted you guys about this already, but I did get to see some live baseball already this season. So I was in Miami for a family wedding at the end of March, and I saw the second game of the season between the Marlins and the Pirates. Not exactly the marquee matchup that any of us would hope for, but that is what it is. I did not see Paul Skenes because, of course, he threw opening day, which was the night before, and I was not able to be there then. Now here's something interesting. So my cousins are big Marlins fans, and that's a whole other story. I won't go into that right now. It doesn't make any sense, but they're big Marlins fans. They have a specific personal story, which is why. So it kind of makes sense in that sense. But anyways, so yeah, I know, Matt. So they went to opening night. They were already there. They went to opening night, and they said that the crowd was great. Lots of people there. Relatively speaking, and that it was really fun. And Paul Skenes pitched, Sandy Alcantara pitched, right? I mean, that's cool. It's Marlins Pirates, but it would be fun to see Skenes and Alcantara. Now, of course, I go to the second game, and I got to tell you guys, I texted you about it at the time, but I'll tell the pod, and I know that our devoted listeners will find this interesting. There was fucking nobody there. It was so depressing to see. First of all, that's the biggest thing is second game of the season, barely anyone there. It was just insane. But then the other thing was I did not recognize, I think, a single name in the starting lineup for the Marlins. And what I was thinking about was we shouldn't do this live on the pod because it would take too long to do the research. But I was thinking about the three of us. If we were to go through all 30 teams in Major League Baseball, are there any other teams besides for the Marlins where on any given day we won't have heard of any of the 9 starters in the field? And you know, and I don't know, right? Maybe there is, maybe there are 1 or 2 other teams, but I just was like shocked. I'm like, I mean, I knew several people on the Pirates. You know, they've got some good players, but literally, I recognize. So Griffin Conine is Jeff Conine's son, so I knew
Okay.
the name Conine. He was one of the starters, but I think that was like, so I recognized the last name, but then literally like nobody else. And man, it's just so sad because that franchise is such an embarrassment, and I feel bad for all of the sports fans down in South Florida because they could have this amazing, vibrant baseball culture. I mean, it is a hugely Hispanic city, and newsflash: Hispanic people fucking love baseball. Like, it could be amazing there if there was an ownership group that gave a shit. So just really kind of interesting to see, but really depressing to see. The good news was that we were able to sit in really good seats for not much money. So that's
Yeah.
that's the only pro of this kind of situation. But it was pretty fascinating.
So yeah, Xavier Edwards, Kyle Stowers, Jonah Bride, Matt Mervis,
Yep.
Otto Lopez, Griffin Conine, Liam Hicks, Derek Hill, Graham Pauley. Now, I will say there's one name on that list that I have heard of.
And who's that?
Kyle Stowers
Really?
is the only name I have heard of before, and it's probably because he played for the Orioles for 3 years.
Okay. Because I didn't recognize that name. I must have seen him in some games against the Yankees, but I did not recognize it.
But yeah, pretty bare bones there. That was depressing.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. So, but it was, it was fun to go and get to see some baseball. And I got to actually buy my tickets. The Yankees are going to be in Colorado playing the Rockies in late May, so I'm definitely gonna get down to Denver and get to see one of those games, which will be really nice. But yeah, that was something.
Well, gentlemen, I might have to prematurely force us to wrap up because I'm down to 9% battery in the
How dare you?
third floor cave. Like I still have I have there's a power cord and a setup in some place and back there. But I got the printer set up.
There you go.
That's about it.
Yeah, that's all good. We've been going for an hour, so
It's giving the people what they want.
That's
I
right.
hope.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think of your shout out, Ethan?
You guys start. Maybe it'll come to me.
Okay. Shout out to every asshole who lost their mind over torpedo bats and doesn't give a shit about it anymore.
Oh, we didn't even get into that. Oh, we should have talked about that. Maybe next time. That's a good one, Matt.
Like, oh my god, they look like they're playing
Fucking morons.
softball.
God,
they just the Brewers suck. Like
that's why the internet is the worst.
Like,
yeah.
So completely legal, by the way. They just shifted where they made the fat part. Like,
yeah.
So that's
God, that was infuriating.
To everyone who got like, you know what? Actually, you know what? As an addendum to Dave Portnoy, you can go suck a bag of dicks and disappear forever, you piece of shit.
I never have to hear that name again.
Yeah.
God. The worst.
Oof. Yeah.
I'll give a shout out to the Knothole Foundation here in Charlotte. I got an opportunity yesterday to go to their, they called it the West Side Story. It was a 3-day event between Monday and today where they hosted clinics, games, educational opportunities for underserved communities here, mostly in West Charlotte, but just in the area in general. They also unveiled a permanent Jackie Robinson banner on the outfield wall of one of their fields. They have 3 fields on the complex, and they did that yesterday in honor of Jackie Robinson Day, and I got an opportunity to talk to Wally Cathcart, who is one of the oldest living Negro League players. He also threw out the ceremonial first pitch, threw from the rubber, and threw a strike.
Nice. He's got to be in his, like, what is he, like, in his 90s?
He late 80s, and
Okay, impressive.
and talking to him, very sharp. He had a hearing aid, but he stood the whole time. I was like, dude, it wasn't boiling hot, but the sun was out. I was like, yeah, we can sit if you want. I'm good. Talked to him, talked to Mo Hill, who played 15 years in the minor leagues, and most likely, if he was white, would have gotten an opportunity to play in the big leagues, but he was black, and that was a very important reason why he was never called up. And also talked with Morris Madden, who's the co-founder of the Not Whole Foundation, and got drafted by the Dodgers, played a couple cups of coffee with the Tigers and the Pirates, I believe, off the top of my head. Just really cool to be able to talk with them. I actually emailed Molly Knight
Oh, did
about
you?
this. Yeah, when she wrote her column, what was it, last week, Ethan? About the Dodgers visiting the White House, and
Yeah.
just the everything, with Mookie and Dave Roberts, and these black individuals who probably were kind of forced by the Dodgers organization that wants their cake and wants to eat it too. Just a bad situation. Anyway, Molly kind of inspired me to make sure that I asked different questions than I was intending to when I got this assignment from the Charlotte Observer, and ended up having really nice conversations both on and off the record with all three of those individuals. And I thought the article that I wrote came out really nicely too. So I sent Molly a thank you, this morning.
So she had responded to you.
She just said, thanks, let me know how it goes, type thing.
But to the previous message, the first message you sent to her, she had responded.
That's what she said. To it, because I was like,
I see. Yeah,
I don't want to make an 80-something-year-old man upset, but he wears Dodgers gear all the time, and I was like, has your opinion changed on the organization given what has happened recently? And he said, no, they should be held to a standard, and they really didn't live up to that standard. So I thought it was really insightful and
interesting.
just made for really, I thought, important conversations. And it ended up going from something that I think everyone thought was going to be a puff piece to hopefully something that made people think a little bit more, and hopefully we'll do more on the other 364 days a year, and not just on Jackie Robinson Day.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good one, Kyle. That reminds me of, like, on the podcast where they do one last meaningless thing, but sometimes Joe or Mike will talk about something that's actually really meaningful and nice.
Yeah.
And that was really good. I don't want to add anything to that. That's some really good stuff to end on, I think. So.
All right, boys. Well, we can't end until we get the we are.
Well, wait. Does that just mean that you couldn't remember, Ethan?
Well, I also couldn't. Yeah, no, I couldn't remember. But also, I don't want to devalue what Kyle said. I get the only thing I thought of was that
Colin had a very poignant, like a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good one to end on.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was outstanding. The only thing I was thinking of is my Miami trip that I mentioned, because some of our listeners will recall that I did my master's at the University of Miami, and I graduated 12 years ago already, which is fucking insane. But my trip to Miami reminded me that I do not miss South Florida in the least. Fuck that place. But my dad and I did have some amazing Cuban food for lunch one day. So if I had to give a shout out, I'd give a shout out to Cuban food in Miami. But Kyle, your whole thing with your assignment, that's really awesome stuff in your article. So everybody should go read it.
Cool. Thank you, boys. Until next time.
We're back.
We are.
Yeah.